compounded missile and drone attack, attacking across several parts of the area, including, walking distance from my apartment, for the third time. I thought it was the second time at that specific location, but it's the third time. Um, um, and way up at the top of the building, I posted a video already, the initial one here. Good to see everyone, by the way. I am seeing you sign in. But because it's recorded, I'll just leave the comments as a flow. And again, I intend to come on a little bit later, perhaps. We'll see. And we had multiple locations again. So when it used to be multiple locations, Kyiv is a pretty big city. And thank you for all the paid subscribers and those behind the scenes who send PayPal. I chose not to worry about cab fares and all that shit today. I said get there fast, get it done. So we went across to the far west side, Bulaska Roman, to Vyshevny as well. So first thing I did this morning, after kind of waking up to more missiles and drones, was just recon my area, go to Vydubychi, where the apartments had been attacked, and did a short video for you guys. And then came back and tried to map out where the other locations were, because I saw that there was one that was an apartment complex, and I think many of you may see some clips from our other colleagues like Tom Much, where the top section had been blown out, and I'll go see what happened there. And I had planned on initially going to the location from a couple days ago to come to you guys later, and just be on the side. But it was pretty apparent that it was good to go over to Vyshevny on the far west side to see what was going on, because especially in the wake of Russian disinformation, there was a burst of videos as I was trying to recon the Telegram channel information, both from our guys and the Russians, and the bottom feeders in between. And I could see that there's a location where what appeared to be fireworks, munitions, or something were going off. And in one account called Victor 88 or something, which is a Russian disinformation account, it was like, this is where the, Flamingo missiles are stored, etc. And look, we had an S-300 location there, etc. And all based on internet. I know everything if I can just see it on the internet mentality, which, what can we do? So, and also the sun it's not the hottest day. We've actually had a cool period, but the sun is like being brutal. So part of the reason why I don't want to just sit around too long right now is that. But it's been a long day. So then, so we get over to Vyshevny, and goes to one. I didn't know what I'd see when I got there, to where some events are happening, and I assumed that this one particular apartment complex was there. And my friend was actually also looking for this area where the munitions of some sort seemed to have been going off, or fireworks or whatever it was. And we wound up in the area of Vyshevny instead, which is not building was that you may see in the news, but instead these are level single-story houses. Bare, I think maybe twice saw something that was, something with the upper floor, but mostly single-story. And man, as many blocks as you can see, houses completely demolished, fire department putting them all out. You'll see in the video later. Yeah, I mean, I said it reminded me of Moschun, and in 2022 when I went to film at the village where the Russians and the ground forces of the pushed back the Vydubychi, and a lot of houses were damaged in that battle right there. And the smell of war, like right now, I smell completely of smoke in a way that's, yeah, I could probably have a smoke fire just about anywhere and come smelling like this. But this smell of war, when, as you see in my photos, you see munitions, They did have parts that were part of Ha 101s. Iskanders were also used last night. I forget the precise number. I think it was 32 and 6, if I remember correctly. And above 300 drones. And also, as I mentioned in the briefing with Sean the other day, we shouldn't use the assumption of that every 2 weeks will be the time span that Russia uses to launch an attack on Ukraine. And I don't have to look far because Putin clearly stated it. He said the mass strikes will resume and continue. But well, Donald Trump is taking a gut. And if you guys know me by now, you know that I get triggered by Donald Trump having phone calls with Putin. He's a coward. He likes to have his little fluffy ego pushed and groomed and how great America is. And we know Russia doesn't think that. How do you know? Russian trolls on a regular basis do not say, Chris, you're a terrible person. Ukraine's terrible, but God, we love America. They don't say that, right? They don't say that at all. Actually, the attack always goes like this. You're American, go home. This is the Slavic world. You caused this. Russia hates America. I'm not saying it doesn't want what America makes, or like Coca-Cola or McDonald's or Avengers movies and shit like that. Better Call Saul, who knows? Um, the world has always liked stuff from America and Britain in that capacity. On some superficial level, that's fine. I'm saying that Russia has an enemy that's the United States of America. And Russia also has an enemy that is either progress or um, the defiance of. So, like Rahman says, it's. Um, I've always said this. Like, I had a 17-year-old Russian kid walked up on a conversation I had in San Francisco, where my friend, great longtime friend and good supporter, asked me about the Russian hacking operations of 2016, and this was in just to that. And I had finished my book on ISIS and disinformation shit, and we were past the opening salvo of Trump Russia. And as I was talking about it, a Polish kid kind of steps in and says, "Well, you don't have to hack; you can social engineer." And after kind of like getting to the bottom that he was from Poland, a third kid was watching, and he was from Russia because he was restoring. He was basically making Russia great again. And he had never had any leader but Putin. And he called him even a dictator, but he says it was okay because at least he's making the country better. He was full Putin. And I said, can I be honest with you? He said, sure. I said, okay. And I mean this no disrespect to you. Just like I'm not necessarily a representation of America in any way, shape, or form. In some moment I am, and in others I'm not. So your country has wanted to be as good as the West as long as anyone can remember, and it's documented. And it's at the root of every policy over and over again. The desire to be as good as the West. Now, I'm American. We do it different. We know we're the best. Number one in every category, even though we're not. And if you don't believe us, we'll bomb you. So what I was telling him is that not to say my country's perfect. It's just that I know my country's failures. And for him not to know his country's failures and violations. And this was in 2017. So Russia had already begun its invasion of eastern Ukraine and Crimea. And so he had a responsibility now, and he didn't care. Which brings me to the silly shit today when I posted the videos of the strikes here in Kyiv. And I still get chatter on the May 15th video about the strike on the apartment that killed 24 people. It's this, and I just posted a video. I'm about to go throw on that account in here. Inferior. I have a few friends on the internet that have awoken me to a side that I need to take responsibility for. And I'll first say to the great bass player Victor Wooten, who I've known for many years, since I was 19 years old, and I'm 56. So sorry, Victor, I'm going to give your age away. But Victor said, and I think it was great, everyone says check your ego at the door. And I say, no. I mean, bad ego, yeah, but ego, like, okay, so if I go into a doctor's office and I say, "Are you a really good doctor at this that I," and that doctor says, "Well, I'm kind of okay, I think." I'm gonna go to another doctor. And just like that, and he goes on about, allowing yourself to own your thing, but also not to be full of yourself, not to be, he made a clear, easy distinction that just kind of cuts it away so you can get rid of that part, right? Not the boasting without accomplishment and skill set. But like we have our friend Chris who's here, I'm gonna brag on her. So our friend Chris who's in the space, she just made a great piece of art that you're gonna hear about tomorrow night with Glenn Kirschner, and I'm gonna put her on the space to make her blush. It's fantastic art. She has every right to say that she makes fantastic art. She can choose whatever language she wants to use to do it, but if she has the confidence to stand up and say that I can do this and successfully do it, then that's it. And I'm this way about a lot of categories because I think we need to be able allow people who are good at what they do to state that they're good at what they do. Um, we have a difficulty with not being able to discern people who obviously not good at what they do. But in my category, there are areas where I know where I stand in certain strata, maybe not numerically because I don't know how many ISIS actually are. In the hacking and Russian disinformation area, I don't really know how many they are. But if I were to quantify it by, say, just Americans, get rid of trying to match the globe and just Americans or just Texans or just on my block or, whatever I can pretty much answer that question because I know what I did every day for many, many years. Yeah, okay. And I've got at least a pretty good habit, which is stick to my lane and really get into that lane. That's the whole purpose of like what we think of as the kung fu mentality. Kung fu is not about like wushu is about martial arts and that martial skill. But kung fu is about like how Yo-Yo Ma plays cello or how, the ball player knows exactly how to do their things, right? That's kung fu, right? And so if you're not a bullshit artist and you really study your history, you study your politics. Today, when I physically went to the location where an event happened, where maybe it is a munition, maybe someone had shells there. Okay, doesn't justify Russia's ability to launch missiles on everywhere else and blow out 500 fucking homes. And if someone says, "Yeah, but Russia did this, but what did Ukraine do?" It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. You can play the game. Idiots will play the game. They'll chase that shit all day long. But part of what I do is get to the bottom of what's happening in front. And sometimes even like today, where you get up, you put on the boots, make sure you wear the boots. I didn't put them behind me, but I love my boots. Never thought I'd say that. I had friends who used to wear these kind of oversized black boots, and I wear like Chucks. In the early 80s, I wore Vans. I wore shoes. Probably didn't think about them, but I never wore boots. And I'm from Texas. But when I bought those boots to bring here because I knew I needed them, those boots have been everywhere. And today I walked throughout the Shevny district of Kyiv where 500 fucking houses have been destroyed. 500 fucking houses have been destroyed in a fucking day. Houses. And then I go home and I look on the internet and I get to ask, what have I done to help the situation? Or, NATO did this or stupid shit. And so I have an attitude problem. I asked in the area about casualties. I know we were above 12 or something midday. I've said this before. I like to let them settle because they're ongoing situations. Also, they're in multiple locations. Kyiv is very large, so I was in one particular area when I looked at where the other one was. It wasn't reasonable to go there today. I'll look at going there tomorrow, and it's it was a lot of hoofing actually. I don't want to pull up my phone right now, but I have my little heart. How far do you walk? Ankle monitor. What do they call this? Apple Watch. Girlfriend once said, like, I want to know that you're not going to die of a heart attack. So get an Apple Watch. Like, anyway, don't be silly. It does tell me that like days like today, I walked 20,000 steps. I guarantee it was at least 20,000. Made some new friends. Friends made during war are interesting friends indeed. And I'll decompress for a little bit. It's about 7:34 right now. Confirmed I am going to the front by end of week. Finally, actually, down towards the south. My beloved Kherson. And Sochua, я люблю Kherson. And Nareshti, я піду там. Finally, I go there. So it is back to the morally inferior. You don't see the rant itself, but I can twist the rant however I want. Anyone who comes up on my timeline and says something when I post about Ukrainian casualties and this war against Ukrainians, it brings up Iraq, Donald Trump doing anything to Iran or anything I ever fucking stood against can basically go jump on a dick. It's morally inferior. At the root, and this is what bothered me with it. One particular person, an Arab, walks up on my timeline and says, "What about?" What about? Well, what about, like Trump and the crimes against Iran? Okay. So we just put these little pins in the board. In Israel and something. Actually, another post said you should look into Israel genocide. Okay. I live in Ukraine, and that's the fucking topic in front of where I fucking live. Okay. And you didn't ask me about the other one because you actually care about it. You asked because you're a manipulative, substandard, immoral, subhuman maggot. That's why. That's why you asked that question. See, moral people don't do that. I've studied moral people, including moral people who have different ways of arriving at morality. And so we have a whole class of people who have accepted being completely substandard, immoral, morally inferior maggots, okay, in humanity. And they explicitly show up at the times of suffering, like that Sandy Hook, right? The Alex Jones impression I have was always riffed on um, poking fun at sort of Hillary Clinton, really poking fun at him, but invoking Hillary Clinton. But I don't like doing those characters when I do impressions because they're substandard, morally inferior maggots, and especially people like Alex Jones and whoever his Arabic equivalent is, whoever his Indian equivalent is, whoever in some part of the world wakes up and says it's okay if Ukrainians die or suffer because I didn't like United States invading Iraq. That is a morally inferior position at every possible level. It actually, the worst part is it works harder to get at the morally inferior position as a person than just sort of being indifferent, even, right? Being indifferent at the very least means you're not applying some sort of pseudo intellectual math, pseudo intellectual approach to, oh, well, I'm going to quantify the suffering of what America did to wherever the fuck America did something, to the allowing of Russia to plunder the resources of not just Ukraine, but Georgia, all the regions that are subservient to Moscow and St. Petersburg for whatever reason. The continued aggression against the former USSR satellite controlled countries that want to get rid of Soviet shit. So every time they do, Latvia or Lithuania or Estonia or somewhere gets rid of, man, we don't want that shit anymore. They get hit with a DDoS attack. Oh, that's okay. Why? Because America, Iraq. What the fuck is that? Now you guys aren't there, so I'm griping to the choir. I'm expressing to you what it feels like when I watch these morally inferior maggots come up on my timeline. And the best part I like is when they come up and say, like, "Oh, I made you mad." Again, morally inferior maggot level. To even want to be the guy or woman who, and it's mostly guys, the guy or woman who wants to be. That's what you got. You got me mad. So what did you fucking get? Okay. So you're basically still a morally inferior maggot at every fucking level. I am far from perfect at the level of the saints that I know in my life, the saints that I see in the news. Some people I think are really, man, I don't even understand them. Like I do, but I can't even pretend I'm at that level. There are people who just put me in awe. But I know this. I'm not that kind of morally inferior maggot, like that kind of comes up and thinks it's perfectly okay to make fun of something that happens in like Nigeria or India because Russia of something. And well, ha 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 ha, but you bought their gas. So it's okay. I would never, that shit would never come out of me, ever. I don't have a group of people I inherently have a dislike other than Russians. I don't have a inherent group dislike for any group in the world, and because of something. So if a bunch of Irish accounts, which has to be this weird, there happens to be a weird, even though they're a fraction of a percent in the Irish politic, they really are. But there happens to be these Russian, pro-Russian trolls that are Irish, and I actually know that they're Irish because I've been able to dox a few of them. Or I should say dossier if you want. Doxing literally means put it out there. But anyway, and they really believe what they say, and it comes from an antagonistic point of view, a contrarian point of view that's not very well thought of. Does not make the assignment between the way in which the Brits, tortured the Irish to stop their language, as Joe here says, it's in bad faith. It lacks critical thinking. But more importantly, it's sort of stupid that someone comes up on my post when I post on Instagram in favor of Ukrainians, and because they hear I have an American tone, perhaps they even might distinguish I'm from Texas if they're good. If I'm angry, as Sean Penner says, if I'm angry, the Texas kicks in a little bit more. I know where I don't have a tone from. I don't sound like I'm from Philly, Boston, but the morally inferior maggot comes out, right? Jumps in on a regular basis. I get them on certain days. What about the students that you killed? I've even had that. What about the students you killed? Has been posted directly at me on Instagram, and they mean in Starobilsk. I'm like, that I did, yeah. Oh, let me be very clear. And this is a hard thing to say. At the age of 56, I had killed nobody, even though there was a couple people fucking deserving. I mean, really fucking deserving. The guy who beat the shit out of me from 15 to 17 and finally assaulted my grandma, I did not kill him. I had perfect opportunity. I had the fucking rifle that was stored in my fucking room that we kept because he was a regular alcoholic. This was not my father. This was not a family member. Person who happened to live in our home took over our home. And I didn't kill him. Okay. So morally inferior maggots have no right to come to me after all I've been through and tell me about killing people. You can go fuck yourself on that one. Thank you. Okay. Never did any of those things that basically you think you could throw at me to distract me. All right. Not going to happen. Do I advocate for what happened in Starobilsk? Yes. Why? Чему? Why would I advocate for this? Number one, Starobilsk is Ukrainian territory. Okay. So that strike was not even in Russian territory. And that strike in Ukrainian territory, those were not Ukrainian kids sitting inside that facility. No, 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 no. Whoever told you that's full of fucking shit. Okay. Russia, Rubicon system, just like we have Brave One as our, not just drone building components, but it's our defense industry rebirth to save the fucking country that was rotted out under Yanukovych in the previous eras. And Rubicon is what Russia tries to do to build its drone site. And that location was used as a military facility in the capacity the Ukrainians said it was. How do you know? I already showed this to you before. The Russians identified the location in Telegram 2 fucking years ago. I mean, sorry, not 2 years ago. 1 year ago in February last year. My bad. February 2025. I have their Telegram accounts. I have their Facebook accounts in that location. It was a cadet academy. It's exactly what happened. Now, When Russian forces hit, good evening to people who are coming and saying hi. By the way, I do see your accounts. I don't want to lose track of. Forgive me. When Russian forces hit the military academies here, like in Poltava, an investigation happens. Outrage occurs. Okay. But we don't lie what it is. We say it's a military academy. And why were they out in the field? And why this and why all the security measures for that shit? Of course, we're going to have a military academy. But when it happens, we don't suddenly say, you hit an elementary when we know they killed soldiers. You know, because it's in the fucking news. It becomes actually controversial here. This is the difference between what I've said before about messy democracy and neat autocracies. So a messy democracy, like when Zelensky has to be insulted by the White House, has to be confrontational with the press here, when Andriy Yermak gets arrested, all that shit. That's a messy democracy. That's what you actually want. You know how many people in the United States government should be arrested right now if the laws were actually applied? Tomorrow, I'm going to ask that of Glenn Kirschner, who's my guest. Okay. We're going to have a session tomorrow night. I hope you join us. We need to bring on some heavy hitters on the big subjects, like how many people in the United States government, if the laws were actually applied, if you could magically snap the DOJ back to where it used to be, how many of those mofos would be in jail? A whole lot of them, especially Donald J. Trump. But here, when you hear about an investigation, it's like, oh, the corruption is just terrible. No, corruption is on the uptick in the sense of healing itself, in the sense of the people taking control of what's necessary, holding the people accountable that do steal and do corrupt the system. And Russia is not doing any of that. And when people come up, and you guys are smarter than this, so forgive me, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but when the Russian Telegram accounts come up and lie, like they literally were lying in the middle of the attack last night. So you will see from my footage that I will post later, I went literally out to the location. 500 houses destroyed. And I know what I was able to go see in the entire area and do pinpoint maps to look at it entirely. You know, it's been the job of 4 years to document this stuff firsthand, tired or not, hungry or not. I don't starve here. I live in Ukraine. I'll make sure that doesn't happen. Focused, no games, you know. I got amongst friends, I got chewed out yesterday because I don't use dating apps and all these other things. They're like, I don't like being single. Not my nature. The situation has been such that focus on work means focus on work. And like, well, why don't you at least do dating apps? Nope, sorry. And my discipline matters to me right now. My discipline matters to the work in front. The right person, whenever she finally comes along, says, you're crazy about work, but I like what you do. Keep going it and whatever. So be it. But little things like that, you know, or like I go to bars with friends and sit there and have a lemonade and a Sprite, and I know I'm like, yeah, still do pudmohe like it's a drink, but I don't drink. It's 2 Ukrainians in this whole world I'll ever have a drink with. Maybe that rule could expand itself. I just don't, because I don't like it impairing what's happening. We have nights like last night where, honestly, when I say I slept through some of it, I was asleep when it started, and I had not seen the late. Like for us, it was 2200, so after 10 o'clock. After 10 o'clock, there was an announcement that they had seen detection for what we'd been seeing. So I didn't see it earlier, like the one a few days ago that Zelensky did earlier in the day, which is fine. And when it came through, my first instinct was I looked at the gear. It still needed some charging. I put the stuff on gear. More came in. I briefly went live. And as I went live, the phrase Donald Trump was on the phone for 90 minutes. Putin came on. And if you were on here with me last night, if you did jump in here, that was the last thing you heard out of me. I was so pissed off at that, I was done. All you would have heard is stuff that was like Secret Service level. Not that I would ever be dumb enough to threaten the stupid ass president, syphilitic felon that he is. I'm bigger than him. I'm better than him. I am morally superior to that morally inferior maggot. Period. I don't have to threaten Donald Trump. But my rage at his cowardice and how he perverted the United States' best qualities, Okay, we should always work on our worst qualities, but our best qualities should never be undermined. And he did all that. Okay. And he gets on the phone for 90 minutes, and you'll see the consequences if you didn't already see the videos I've already posted. Range of people here, especially my dear Katrusha. Я не знаю, бачили це відео, але я люблю тебе. І дякую вам за підтримки, і тому що ти чекала на мене. So that's a message to my Ukrainian sister. If she was to see this. If you don't understand that, okay, too bad. Basically, I'm saying thank you for her love and support and checking on me. I have some people here from the day I arrived, practically the day I arrived, set the pillars in stone for victory in my life with them. With them. Even if we all go to hell together, I can't get wrong with them by listening to a handful of people that really always guided me. And when they check in, sometimes it's good. And when more than one of them checks in, that's even better. Including the number one love of my life, who will never be my wife, but she's still the number one. She also said, "Good job on the journalism. Thank you for what you do." And a lot of people in Ukraine that I work with who love me right back, and I love them right back. We appreciate you tuning in and making sure you understand what's happening here in Ukraine. They hit people hard today. All casualties are painful. There is no magic number where it's acceptable and not less hurting. I can always say it's an amazing thing when there are not more casualties, when I see what I see in front of me. If you didn't see the videos that I already posted earlier, that's just part of it. Once I go through the videos that I'm going to deal with here now for the next couple of hours, then I'll post them for you. So it is now 7:51. I could do this for way too long because my brain is always full. That's what a polymath is. 7:51 for me. So I'm going to basically sign off for now, and we'll leave this video up for people to kind of catch the first briefing. And then, I don't know, 4 hours, depends on how long it takes me to kind of run through the video. And my verse came out worse. Okay, let's see. Now he says that, so we're going to say it really. Today, Russia is mostly full of shit, while Ukraine, who we love, is exquisite. Oh, how Ukraine must prevail, and Russia's genocide fail. For not, we will never match Ukraine's grit, because Donald Trump is full of fucking shit. I'll finish that for you. See you guys later. Big love to you. Slava Ukraini, Heroim Slava. I Pizdet Rossiyской Federacji.